Hi, it's Steph, and we're at Home Depot, and we're going to take a look at all of the fall bulbs that they've received. Now, these are spring bulbs technically, but they're planted in the fall. Let's go check it out. So here in this large bin, they have these value bags for $19.98, and they have tulips and daffodil ones. So in this bin here, it is tulips. And I am quite impressed with the size of these bulbs. And I love that they have these mesh bags because you can actually inspect the bulbs really well and be able to tell if there are any rotted bulbs, and just to get a good gauge on the size of them. These actually look to be in really good shape. So this mix here is, let's see, it just says tulip mix. There is 35 in this package for $19.98. Tulips are full sun. This particular mix is a height of 18 to 22 inches. They're excellent for cut flowers and great in borders and containers. When you're looking for tulip bulbs, you want to definitely look for some good sized bulbs. The ones that are really small sometimes are offshoots of bigger bulbs, and you may just get foliage and not necessarily get a bloom, which is quite disappointing after you do all the work of planting them. So you certainly want to inspect the bulbs and look for bigger sized bulbs if you can. But that is a really good price, 35 of them for $19.98. So on the tulips at 35 in a package for $19.98, you're paying 57 cents a bulb. Now, if you order online from some of the reputable bulb retailers, you might get them for, 35 to 40 cents a bulb, in that range, 35 to 45 cents, let's say. But there's a minimum that you have to order, you have to pay shipping. So if that's something you're not looking to deal with, you can certainly pick these up because those tulips bulbs, like I said, they were really large and in good shape. Now these are daffodils. Here you get 5 more, so you get 40 daffodils for $19.98. And this is the classic yellow trumpet mix. And these are full sun to partial shade, and they are 14 to 20 inches, deer and critter resistant, and they naturalize well. So what does this mean? Tulips, if you are new to planting bulbs in the fall for spring blooms, tulips are deer and rabbit candy. So they will come and they will lop off all of your blooms if you're not vigilant with spraying them with deterrents. But these here, daffodils, they are not bothered by any kind of rabbits or deer. So if you have a lot of critters where you live, this would be a really good alternative for some spring blooms. These daffodil bulbs, I can't get over how big they are. They're ginormous. They're basically like little onions. Really big. So I could imagine that these are going to send out some really good flowers. And these naturalize over time, which means that if you plant just a handful, in a few years you'll have a nice growing patch of daffodils. So these are those special buy bags. And here in my zone 6, it is only the first week of September and it's still quite warm. So I would probably wait until sometime between Columbus Day and Halloween to plant these out. You want the weather to be cool enough so that they don't start sending up shoots prematurely. So let's start looking at all of these other bulbs that they have here. They have quite a large selection in their inventory here at Home Depot this year. Home Depot sells this Vigoro brand, and I noticed that they have quite a number of Vigoro tulips this year. And we were just talking about tulip size, and I happened to notice this poster here, and it's showing the difference between a standard bulb and what Vigoro is calling their mammoth size bulbs. So I can tell you from experience that the bigger bulbs, the healthy large bulbs, definitely provide you with a better flower. And no one wants to wait all winter for pretty spring blooms and not get a flower, right? So here are some Vigoro daffodils. So here are the yellow trumpet, and in this package here for $9.98 you get 12. So if you just are new to bulbs and you want to try only a little patch of them, then this could be a good option. You get a smaller bag for $10 and you get 12 of them, because remember, these will naturalize, which means over time you'll get more. Just some, unsolicited advice about planting these. Try not to plant them in a row like lone soldiers. They look best planted in, imagine it like little bouquets in groupings of 5 or more. Okay, just do little clumps. They'll look much better. Okay, so here we have some tulips. These are $9.98 for 12 tulips, so just like the daffodils. And this is a really pretty bold red. It's called Mammoth Red. Again, it's showing you the standard size bulb and their bulb. And so this one here is full sun, blooms mid-spring, and height 18 to 22 inches. Excellent for cut flowers. So another thing to notice about tulips is that each variety, just like daffodils actually, both daffodils and tulips have the same situation where there are early blooming, mid blooming, and late blooming. So if you want to extend your spring show, you're going to want to look for varieties that bloom at different times. So this pretty orange one here also blooms mid-spring, and you also want to check the heights. So when you plant them, you make sure you plant taller in the back, shorter in the front. Some pink. These are really pretty. Mid-spring. So it looks like they have quite a variety of colors. And like anything else, the earlier you get them, the more selection you'll have. These orange and red ones are real pretty as well. This one's called two-tone. And so these varieties all seem to be mid-spring bloomers. Alliums. These are gorgeous. Alliums are part of the onion family. They are also not bothered by any pests like deer or rabbits. This particular variety is, I would say that the bloom is maybe the size of a tennis ball. And again, these look nicer in groupings, so maybe 5 bulbs, 4 to 5 bulbs per group. Always odd numbers tend to look better too, so you could do 3, 5, 7 in each grouping. So this here, you get 20 in a package for $14.98. Sometimes these are called the Dr. Seuss flowers because they are quite whimsical. When you see them in your garden bed kind of floating above all the other plants, really pretty. So they have some of these allium, crocus. These are typically the earliest blooming spring flower. So these are first blooms of spring. And they're really short. I was actually kind of surprised at how short they are when you first see them. But they look really nice if you have an area with, like, say, a rock or a bed, like a rock garden. They would look really cool in there. So this one is called Siberia Tricolor, and you get 50 bulbs for $14.98. Now, because they are smaller blooms, the bulbs are also pretty small, but that is normal. The size of the bulb typically will give you an idea of how big the bloom will be. Now, here's another beautiful daffodil. Now we're getting into the doubles. These are so pretty. Instead of having just the traditional trumpet, these have multiple petals. And these here you get 30 for $14.98. And this is called Golden Ducat. And full sun to partial shade. Daffodils can do okay in a woodland setting, but they need at least 4 hours of sun, 4 to 6 hours to do best and to get the most blooms. This one is 14 to 18 inches and naturalizes well, deer and critter resistant. Oh, an iris. They have a few iris, and I just love bearded iris. So let's take a look at those. Iris reticulata. So these are a shorter variety of iris, and you get 50 for $14.98. And these are a bulb form. Typically, I am familiar with the bearded iris, and those typically have rhizomes, where this type of iris has bulbs. And so it says, plant me with daffodils. So it looks like daffodils make a good companion plant for these. And these here are full sun to partial shade, height 4 to 8 inches, and they naturalize well, deer and critter resistant. So that's good. Here's some more daffodils. These are also trumpet yellow ones. They're called King Alfred type, and I can tell just by the weight and size of them that these are probably a larger type of bloom. And these here are 14 to 20 inches, and they are full to partial sun, partial shade. Now, the good thing to do with these is if you see a name and you're not sure when they bloom or how big they'll be, you can just do a Google search on your phone, and that will generally, pop up some information about them. This one here, you can see that says early to mid-spring bloomer. So that's important information if you're looking to stagger your bloom time. Here's another iris. This one is a bearded iris, and it's called Cherub's Smile. And this one's an early summer bloomer. And what I look for with bearded iris when I'm buying these rhizomes in these packages is I will first kind of gauge the weight of them. If they're too dehydrated, the bag will be really light. If they have a little bit of weight to them, it means that the bloom, or the rhizome rather, is still pretty good and healthy. If you see some green, even better. And you want to look at the roots and make sure they're still plump and not too shriveled up. That will ensure that you're getting a viable rhizome. This one is called Cherub's Smile, and it's a really pretty pink. And then look at this gorgeous one. Has the uppers in that lavender color and the dark falls. This one is called Dangerous Mood, and it's an early summer bloomer. Again, you get 3 rhizomes for $14.98, and they tell you they're full sun, 36 to 48 inches, excellent for cut flowers and reblooms. You see that there, reblooms? That's excellent, because what that means is that, and not all varieties do that, so these two do reblooms. So what that means is that about 6 weeks after your first flush of blooms, you typically get repeat blooms on that iris, and not all iris do that. So that's really good because you're going to get more flowers out of it. So here are some more. This one, really pretty. That's probably as close to a blue as you're going to get. This like lavender color that has like a blue cast. This one is called Full Tide, and it is full sun, 32 to 36 inches, early summer bloomer. And then they have some tulips. So this is where you can see the differences. The single tulips almost always I notice to be early to mid-spring, where when you get into the double mixes, which has more ruffles, it's almost like they take longer to cook, right? So these are later. So here you see double late mix, but really pretty varieties. This one's features that it's a long stemmed mix, so that would be good for cutting. And that's, look how pretty those colors are. It's like planting a bouquet. And those are $9.98 for 16. Now, as you get into the more fancy varieties, so here you're getting the plain white ones, which are stunning, by the way. If you plant a huge swath of one single color, it's so beautiful. But here you're getting $14.98, you're getting 30 of them. As you get into these mixes or the doubles, you get less. So here you're paying $9.98 for 16 of them. And look at this lily. So pretty. It's called Tribal Kiss, and it's a summer bloomer, and you get 6 for $9.98. These packages are a little bit difficult to be able to tell whether or not the bulbs are good, but like I'm feeling this one and it already feels kind of soft. But sometimes you can hold them up to the light and you can see if there's any kind of sprouts on them, and then that would be a good indication that the bulb is going to thrive for you. And they have a bunch of colors in these tulips as well. So they have red. They have some of these mixed ones. Now this mid-spring bloomer, this tulip mix, you get 30 for $14.98. So the other one that was long stemmed, that's why you were paying the $9.98 for 16, because it's considered more specialty. But even not just the, not just the solid colors, you're also able to get the mixed colors for a good amount for not too much money. So 30, $14.98. Look how beautiful these are. They look like a creamsicle. Really pretty shade of orange. And these are mid-spring bloomers as well, 18 to 22 inches, 30 for $14.98. Now, what I really like about the mix is that sometimes you can get, let's say you wanted to do white and pink. You would have to buy a bag of the white, a bag of the pink, and mix them yourself. Well, you can also just buy bag mixes. So this mix here is purple and yellow. This is a mid-spring bloomer and 30 for $14.98. And then they have some other mixes. So that is the purple and yellow. And then they also have pink and purple. So this is the pink and purple pride mix. Really beautiful. I grew a type that was similar before. They were the Darwin mix, and they were really big and beautiful. And so that is a pretty mix. And I've actually grown this one before, Pink Impression. It's gorgeous. And this one actually perennialized for me. Not every tulip comes back. Sometimes the second year you get just foliage. So it's best to treat these really as annuals. And expect that if you love tulips, you may have to plant them every fall. So here, this one is a 18 to 24 inch, so it's a taller one, and it's really gorgeous. I really enjoyed that one. And some more tulips. I saw some other pretty doubles in the next rack, so let's go take a look at those. Look at this beauty. Tulip Double Negrita. It's a late spring bloomer. See, I did notice that all of the pretty doubles are later spring. And these are smaller packs. So here you're getting 6 bulbs for $4.98. It is full sun, 16 to 22 inches. This is great for borders or containers. I actually did a video about planting tulips in containers. Here in my zone 6, in the winter we have we have snow, we have rain, so I don't do my containers until about late winter, and then I put them out either the end of February or first week of March. And as long as you keep them in a cool, dark place, I keep them in a grocery store paper bag or a cardboard box in my garage by the door so they stay nice and cold. And you don't want them to sprout. So that's the thing with them. You don't want them to sprout prematurely if you do plan on container planting them. And if you live in an area with hot weather, some areas like zones 8 and up, it's possible you might have to pre-chill your bulbs in the refrigerator, because most tulips do need a cold treatment or cool season in order to bloom best. Look at these beauties. This one here is Tulip Strawberry Swirl Mix, and it looks like you're getting pink and a creamy white. So beautiful. This is also a smaller pack, $4.98 for 6 of them. So pretty. And look at these daffodils. They have quite a few varieties of daffodils, which I'm really impressed by my Home Depot selection. So they have this one here. It's called Dutch Master. It's also a classic trumpet yellow. This one's a mid-spring bloomer, and you get 6 of them for $4.98. And then look at this one, Early Bride. These remind me of a sunny side up egg because they have the white with the yellow center. And this one's Early Spring, and these are 14 to 18 inches. So pretty. Some Dutch iris. These are also really small irises at, it says they're 18 to 24 inches, but the blooms are pretty small. But nonetheless, they are really pretty. And that deer and critter resistant, music to my ears. I have lots of deers, lots of bunnies. It says plant me with tulips. And these are $4.98. You get 12 of them. And hyacinths. Have you ever smelled a hyacinth? Do you like the smell of them? I really do. Comment below, let me know. But this variety is beautiful. It's called Blue Jacket. It's an early spring bloomer. Hyacinth are really popular for indoor forcing. So that just means that you would pot these up, keep them indoors, and usually around Easter, these start blooming for you. Maybe even a little bit earlier. So they have this Blue Jacket variety, and these you get 3 for $4.98. These look like purple onions. And then you have this mix, the So it's a mix. There's 3 of them, so it's possible that you get one of each, or they might all be the same variety. So of these 3 colors, I probably like the yellow the least, and I would probably get 3 yellow ones because it's just the way it goes. But they're all pretty, very pretty spring colors. I tell you, they have quite a variety of daffodils. So this one's called Dick Wilden, Dutch Master. We've seen quite a few already. And those, the more fancy varieties, you're paying $4.98 for 6 of them. And look at these crocus. These are large flowering crocus, early spring bloomers. You get 12 for $4.98. And let's see what size these are. So these are 4 to 6 inches tall. So they are short, but the blooms appear that they would be larger based on the description. I've also grown these beauties before. They are gorgeous. These are late spring. They are Angelique, and you get 6 for $4.98, and they are full sun, 12 to 24 inches, fragrant blooms, great in borders and containers. Another pretty creamsicle looking one with some orange. This one's called Blushing Appledorn. And that one gets 18 to 24 inches. And some more pretties. Let's see. Anemone. They have some Anemone Blanda mix, and these are spring blooms. They are $4.98 for 12 of them. They almost look like the African daisies. And these are full sun to partial shade, 4 to 8 inches in height, pollinator friendly, and deer and critter resistant, which is great. Let's see what these look like. I'm not familiar with anemone bulbs. Ah, look at them. They're really dark in color. I don't know, they feel kind of light. I'm not sure if these would require some pre-soaking, but you'd probably want to just look up instructions before going ahead and planting these. But more daffodil varieties. Look at this one, Red Devon. And this one looks to be a buttery yellow with an orange center, and this one's early to mid-spring, and it's 16 to 20 inches. And this is another really beautiful tulip. This one is called Queen of the Night, and it's a dark, dark purple. This one would look gorgeous with white tulips. And this one here you get 6 for $4.98, and these get 20 to 30 inches. These are pretty tall. Full sun, excellent for cut flowers, containers, or borders. And then look at these. Parrot mix. These are super ruffly, but they almost looked like they were kind of cut at the ends. They're jagged. They're a little bit jagged, but they're really, really pretty. And these here, it looks like a mix. And these are late spring bloomers. And these are full sun, 18 to 24 inches. $4.98 for 6. And muscari. This is really pretty too. These are called muscari, grape hyacinth, and they look really nice paired with tulips and daffodils. This mix actually with some yellow daffodils would be so pretty. Look at that. And these also naturalize well, and they don't seem to be affected, at least in my garden. I have just a handful of them that my mom gave me from her yard, and they don't seem to be affected by pests for me anyhow. Let me know if they bother them in your garden. But daffodils, muscari, allium, crocus, tulips. How exciting. I tell you, there's nothing like the sight of some spring blooms after a long winter. And look at another pretty variety. This one is called Salome, and it's early to mid-spring bloomer, $4.98 for 6. And they are 14 to 18 inches, and they look like the traditional like trumpet style. Really pretty. I am partial to these colors over these colors when it comes to daffodils. Another beautiful iris. This one is called Superstition, and it is $14.98 for 3 of them. So in this one, for example, I don't see a lot of green. It looks a little bit yellowed and kind of dried up. So I would probably look through the box to find one that looked best. And actually, this box looks like there's not many left. So this one might be a favorite of people because it's running low already. And these have only been out here for about a week. The last time I came and did a Home Depot tour, I noticed that they had started putting them out. So this here is Full Sun, 32 to 36 inches, excellent cut flower, reblooms. So I've seen this rebloom feature on quite a few of them. You'd want to Google that to make sure that the variety that you're buying is in fact a rebloomer if that is something that you're looking for. And then there's this other variety that looks like it has an orange center. It's called Sempre Avanti. Sempre Avanti. And this one here is 14 to 18 inches tall. Early to mid-spring. My store also has these packages that are a little bit smaller, so they have different sizes depending on your needs. If you want to put them in containers, if you just want a small package to try them out. So they have some paper whites. I've actually grown these indoor before. You can force them sort of like you do with hyacinth. I think they're really stinky. They're really pretty, but they don't smell nice, at least to me. But we're all different, so you might like them. But more mix of hyacinth and pastel tulips. So here the tulips are 15 for $9.98, and the hyacinth is $9.98 for 6. So again, you'd want to plant these, you really want to pack up your containers or your border in order to get the best show. And oh, I just spotted a pretty one. Apricot Impression. Love this one. So this one here blooms mid-spring, $9.98. You get 15 of them. And look how beautiful that is. Okay, I'm gonna get one of these. I'm only getting one because I'm gonna put them in a spot that I have some of the Angelique and some Pink Impression. I think they'll look really pretty there. They also have some trumpet mix ones. So if you wanted to get some of the white with the yellow and the yellow with the orange center, this would be a good option. And you get 15 for $9.98. And remember, with daffodils, they do naturalize. So say you get these 15 and you make 3 little clumps of 5. In a few years, you'll probably have more than doubled that. If they're happy, they will double and naturalize. The only thing you want to be cautious of with these is you want to make sure that wherever you plant them, you have proper drainage so that they don't rot. I had some in a bed that had really kind of poor drainage. We're actually working on trying to improve the drainage there, and I lost quite a few of my really pretty daffodil bulbs due to rot. So this is pretty too. This one's called Purple Flag, and it's $9.98. You get 15 of them. Some red impressions. Red blooms are not my favorite, but I've seen red tulips and they are pretty gorgeous. Okay, change of heart on the apricot impressions because the variety I have is Pink Impressions, and I feel like these are going to come out too orange, and I want to stick with the pink because I have the Angelique and the Pink Impression, so I think those will look better together. But let me show you what else I am picking up. Daffodil Replete. I am a sucker for these daffodils that are double and this apricot-y color with the white. I love these. I have a couple of varieties already in my garden. I absolutely love them, but I don't have the Replete. I have the Delanshaw, I believe you say it. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce it, but it's also similar to this, and I love it. And I have another one. It might be called Pink Champagne, which is also similar. Now the decision is, do I get the $9.98 pack for 15 of them or the $14.98 for 30? These are about 49 cents a bulb, and these are 61 or 66 cents, somewhere around there. So because you're getting less, you're paying a little bit more per bulb. But technically, if I have to think about the space that I'm going to putting them in, I feel like I'm going to need to get a smaller pack. to kind of tuck them into that bed, because I already have the other varieties. But it is a better buy if you're getting more of them. And this one is absolutely beautiful. It's a mid-spring bloomer, and they're 12 to 18 inches in height, and they naturalize well, deer and critter resistant. And here is another variety that's beautiful. I actually have this one, and they are very large and like seriously a statement daffodil. Just beautiful. They are called Ice Follies. They're early spring bloomers, and they are full sun to partial shade, 12 to 18 inches, and they naturalize well. I have these planted with Ice King, which is a double white and yellow, and they look so pretty together. So that's going to be it for the spring bulbs at the Home Depot. I found another one, so I'm going to get this one too, this pretty Salome daffodil. So I'm going to get this replete, that's a double, and the Salome, that's a trumpet, and that one you get 6 for $4.98. So I'm going to plant those in a little grouping. I think that'll look nice, like a little bouquet. I stand corrected. I found a double that is an early variety. Look at this, double early tulip mix. Before I had only seen all of the doubles look like they were late spring because they took a while to form all of these pretty petals, but this one here is a double early, and it is a little bit shorter though, at 8 to 14 inch height, so you'd want to plant these in the front of your border. But pretty colors, nice and bright spring colors. So that will be it for the tulips and daffodils and crocus and iris and all of the pretty fall planted spring bulbs that the Home Depot has in stock at the moment. I hope that you've enjoyed this tour, and I hope that you can find these pretty selections in a Home Depot near you. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, please hit the thumbs up button, and please consider subscribing so you don't miss any of my future videos. And we'll see you soon.